Well, hello everybody, this is DearMamaSal on a chilly feeling Thursday morning. Hey, Thursday! We like Thursday. It is, for those of you who don't know, Thursday is like my Friday because I don't work on Thursdays. It's 11 degrees here in southern British Columbia, warmer than I thought it was, which would make it 52-ish in American. What I have to tell you is I know you guys are all gearing up for political type stuff on your side of the border, those of you in the States, and you may or may not know that we are also gearing up for an election on this side, except ours happens in a couple of weeks. Now, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because I wanted to talk about something that relates to it. But before I do that, before I forget, Marie, you sent me a comment in the last 24 hours, and for some reason I can't get to it. I've tried every single way that I know how. I've looked in, unpublished stuff in case it got put into a filter for some reason. I've looked all over. I can see in my inbox that you sent me a comment, but I cannot find it. So please know that I pride myself in answering the comments every day, or at least within 48 hours, that I really work hard to answer all the comments of anybody who ever writes to me. And Marie, the reason I haven't written to you isn't because I didn't care or I have a thing against you, whatever else might be going through your mind. It is because for some reason I can't find the comment. So anyway, thank you for writing. Let me get back to this whole thing about the political issue. What I don't like about the political issue is that everybody puts up their signs and spends a lot of money, obviously creating these signs, spends a lot of manpower putting them up, and then you get the vandals from the opposing parties destroying them. And I've got to call them vandals because I think that if the only way that you think you can win is by destroying somebody else or something else, you're wondering what's distracted me, right? Hang on, let me finish the sentence first. Anyway, the answer is, I'm sorry, I think that is so sad. So sad. The reason I got distracted there is a woman with a stroller running uphill. And by the look of her blood pressure, I'd say she's been doing that for quite a while. And the little kid in the stroller looks as happy as a pig in shit. You know what I mean? It really looks, was having a great time with that cool wind against its face. It definitely was a fun experience for the child. And I was sitting here in my warm car, looking at that thinking, yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, so how do you feel about that? Does it happen in the States as well, is my question, where people just destroy other people's billboards and stuff? I don't know why. It sort of gets me pretty angry. But what can I say? I can just say that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to. So I wanted to go back a few weeks ago, probably a month ago now, I guess. I did a broadcast on Hangouts and met Ash from New Zealand. And I just wanted to give a heads up to something that she said, because I never got a chance to talk about it. I lie. I probably had plenty of chances to talk about it, but I didn't think it was the right time, and now for some reason today it is. What Ashley was talking to us about was, and I can't remember whether it was her mother or she was telling a story about a family member or whatever, but as far as I remember, it was Ashley who told me the story. And what Ash said was that she grew up, or this person grew up in a family where they had a real dichotomy of values. Dichotomy as in complete opposites going on. And for example, the child was taught that if you find something, you take it to the police, or you take it to your teacher or whatever, because it's not yours and you need to find out to whom it belongs. Very nice values. The only problem was there was an aunt or some family member within the family who had a totally different view on life, and that was finders keepers, losers weepers. How many of you remember that one? Now, I was wondering how many of you grew up with that problem. How many of you grew up where your parents taught you one thing, but other members of the family tried to teach you something completely different? And as a child, how confusing is that? How totally confusing is that? Because you don't want to be disrespectful to your parents, but on the other hand, maybe the other person knows better. Maybe they're older, and you think, that was another one, wasn't it? Respect your elders and betters, whatever that means. So you look at it, and I really remember growing up with so many of these adages that it was just like, really? And so finders keepers, I can remember people saying that a lot when I grew up. I don't hear it as much now, and I wonder whether any of you have noticed that as well. But when I was growing up, I definitely can remember being on both sides of that issue. I can remember being taught that you return it to the nearest, responsible person you can find. And then I also remember the finders keepers thing. Interesting. So it's these little stories that I think are interesting for us to revisit, because what are we teaching the people around us? I had a situation at work yesterday where I was busy talking to a colleague, and somebody just stormed in and took over on their issue. And they were giving orders to this colleague of mine. And I'm afraid I got quite pissy about it. First of all, when she was barking out some order, I went, the word please would go down well somewhere in here. You're like, really? What happened to your manners, lady? And then, when she finished, I looked at her and said, by the way, what was it that made you feel that your issue was more important than the one I was talking about? That you clean interrupted and gave no value to whatsoever. And I admit that she apologized, but it's like, I don't know about the rest of you, but did we not teach manners in this next generation? Did we not teach those simple things? I wonder sometimes. And there's so many things that I've had to adjust my thinking around. You know, when you've been taught very strong values and very strong manners, when you've sort of really had these things in, you know, forced down your throat and punched in 16 times, I don't literally mean punch, you know, you've got them embedded in your whole psyche, and then somebody comes up. I think you've heard me talk about it before. You know, I was in a family and taught that, you know, you never point at anybody. It's extremely rude. And, you know, yet I run across people fairly regularly that do point at me, and I have to remember that they didn't go to the same school as I did, the School of Manners. They weren't fortunate enough. And I have to forgive them and try and look past it. But every now and then, if I'm already in a pissy mood, I can assure you I don't take it well. And I don't know what it was yesterday, and it was just like I was having a really important conversation important to me, and then this person just straight over the top, and I went, whoa, excuse me? And actually I was quite surprised, because my colleague said afterwards, good for you. So I just wondered what your pet peeves were, or whether I'm the only one that gets upset about these things. Now, we know that I'm the first one to tell you don't let it upset you, otherwise they get control. But there is part of me that goes, it did. It did, yeah. Now, I just wanted to give a reminder that tomorrow night, that's whenever you're listening to this, it's going to be Friday, 7 o'clock Pacific time, on the program Tiny Chat. We are going to be doing our smoky eye tutorial. And why am I laughing? Well, because you're going to see a lot of people mess it up, and I probably will be the main one. But every now and then we like to do a fun makeup thing, and it's not about doing it perfectly, it's about having fun doing it, and maybe learning something along the way. And our broadcast viewer Liz offered to be our tutor in this one. So I'm sure that she's busy trying to learn as fast as she can. And guess who parked behind a bus this morning? Come on, bus. There you go. Push yourself up the hill. Anyway, I know it's going to be a lot of fun, and for both males and females. Everybody can learn a lot. But the thing I'm really looking forward to is the number of faces that we will pull, because if there's one thing that's for sure, when I put on eye makeup, I pull some really funny faces. Do you? So I think more than anything, that's going to be the fun part of it. So let's watch our manners today around people. Let's make sure that we remember the two magical words of please and thank you. And let's make an effort to use them again. Even, seriously, some suicidal people. Anyway, I was going to say, make sure you use them on your children. And make sure you use them on your friends. I cannot tell you how many times in my day-to-day life I will say something to somebody, I'll walk away, and then I'll turn around and I'll say, I believe the word please was missing out of that conversation. And I just wanted to let you know I did mean it, even though I didn't say it. And normally, you know, the person I'm talking to will just shrug it off and go, no, it's right, I heard it in there, you know, the way that you said it. And I said, no, that's not a good enough excuse, and I just want to apologize. And they just roll their eyes, you know, it's Sal again. But I really think that it's important that we do remember to say please and thank you to people. Good. So have a wonderful day. Enjoy it. Make sure that you value the people around you. Look after yourself, of course. But most of all, look after one another. No, the other way around. Look after one another, but most of all, look after yourself. Because most of us look after other people better than we look after ourselves. So that's why I like to say it that way. Have a fun day. Be polite. And set the example for others. Maybe the fact that you are polite today will inspire somebody else to be polite tomorrow. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.